In this video, we're going to talk about how to keep the club face much more stable. If you're the type of person that leaves it open one time and closed the next, this video is for you. It's going to help you hit the ball much straighter by controlling that club face as you hit the ball. A lot of people struggle with this club face as it goes back and through, and understanding what they're supposed to do with their hands and arms to get this club face aligned properly at impact. I think everybody knows at this point that how that club collides with the ball is going to dictate how it flies in the air. And so you need to be predictable and consistent with how you deliver that club face. You need to be predictable and consistent with how your hands arrive at the golf ball. So we're going to go over a couple of things and ideas that'll help you hit the ball much straighter time after time. So to begin with, you have to have a decent grip to control the club face. You have to have it in the base of the fingers. The heel pad has to be on top. The right hand as well, you have to have the club in the base of the fingers. And you have to have the trigger finger right here. This is a big part of the secret. You have to have the trigger finger pad, this first pad right here, on the side of the golf club. And I would say it looks somewhat parallel to that TaylorMade emblem on my grip there. So we've got in the base of our fingers, the heel pads on top. We've got this trigger finger pad on the side of the club. I would even say the thumbs are lined up to the right side of our body. And some people talk about these creases lined up to the right side of our body. So that grip's really important to the beginning of this. If you have a decent grip, everything we do to keep the club face stable is much, much easier to do. So my favorite analogy for starting off this conversation is if you took an axe, okay, you put it in your hands and you swung it around your body as if you were going to hit a piece of wood right in front of you, that axe blade would stay relatively parallel to the ground. It would go into the piece of wood. The face wouldn't flop all around. It would stay perpendicular to the wood or parallel to the ground as you chopped into the piece of wood. I actually think the golf swing is very similar to that. If you take this club face and you work it around, you notice it's perpendicular to the ground right now. I'm swinging it around. It's not rotating a lot. It's not rotating a lot. I think most people would be better off if that was their thought. What I see on a daily basis on a lesson tee is people open the club face too much. They strike it and they close the club face too much, which is what's sometimes called a windshield wiper. They're taking the club face back and through like this, just hoping they catch the middle of the windshield wiper. Versus if you took that axe blade back, keeping it square, striking it and keeping it square going through, that club face would stay much more stable throughout the strike. So that's the first idea, the idea that the club face should be staying square to the arc, like an axe blade hitting a piece of wood. The next idea is tennis, okay? If you play tennis once in your life, you have a racket in your hand, you would take this racket around you and you would strike that tennis ball without the racket facing the sky too much or the ground too much. And most people that play tennis understand that immediately. They do really well. If you wanted to close the club face, well, all you would have to do is turn the racket to the ground some more, the palm to the ground some more, and that would start to close the club face and make the ball go more left. And if you wanted to, you could take the racket and you could turn it to the sky some more, and that would help the ball go more right. Those two concepts really, really help somebody straighten out if they're too right most of the time or too left most of the time by playing with those two sensations of either more racket to the ground or more racket to the sky. So those are our two analogies. We have the axe blade, we have the tennis racket, and that's going to help us. Let's start going into some drills that you can use to really get this sensation. My favorite drill for this is called the hell drill. A friend of mine, Scott Calx, is the first person I ever saw doing this. It really helps get the right hand in a great position to start to sense its relationship to the face. It also takes the over twisting that the right hand seems to do out of the swing and creates a better pivot action through the ball that would be less prone to flipping and twisting the club. So we're going to go ahead and take our grip. We're going to put the right hand flat on the side of the club. We're going to swing it back and through in a chipping motion, trying to keep that hand passive like this. From this down the line view, you're going to see that that hand is parallel to my spine, square to the target, parallel to my spine, much like the club face would be, parallel to my spine, square the target, parallel to my spine. And that's going to help you send that ball straighter down the target line. So we're going to do our held drill here, palms open. You're trying to keep the pressure on the side of the club consistent throughout the motion. And we're trying to keep that right hand stable as we go back and through. It also promotes more shaft lean because you're not able to flip as much as you would when you normally would have the right hand on the grip. So that right hand on the side is going to be much more stable for the club face. So that's our right hand feel. I'm going to do that one last time, and we're going to modify it a little bit. So the first one, we opened it up. The second one, we're going to just keep the trigger finger pad flexed out and the right hand thumb off of it. So I'll show you that. Here's the initial grip for the held drill. Okay, not this way, not this way, on the side. I'm putting it right in the base of my fingers, and I'm keeping my right hand on the side as I strike the ball. So the second grip we're going to do, we're going to trigger the trigger finger out, and we're going to put it on the side of the club as well to produce that sensation of the held drill, but with our two Wolfpack. We're at NC State, we're in Raleigh, so go Wolfpack, right? We've got our Wolfpack fingers on, and I've triggered this trigger finger out to get the sensation that I'm going to keep this trigger finger pad on the side of the club the entire time. If this trigger finger pad gets on top of the club, it's going to close the face. If this trigger finger pad gets on the bottom of the grip, it's going to open the face. So much like the hand is staying on the side, now we're taking the trigger finger pad and putting it on the side, and we're going to keep it on the side of the club the entire time, which is going to keep the club face more square. So modified held drill, where we just kind of stick this finger out on the side of the club and try to sense it staying on the side of the club as we take it back and through. And that's going to make it a little bit easier to feel the club face. So it's triggered out. We're going to take it back and through, trying to feel that thing stay on the side of the club. Okay, so we've got that club face more stable throughout the motion. So if you want to keep it stable, it makes sense to do the right things throughout your swing, that you can do that feeling at the bottom of the swing. There's just one pitfall you got to stay out of so that you can do this. What happens to people that makes them not able to do this drill and not able to keep the face stable is they'll rotate the face very open in the backswing and cup this wrist, and they have a very weak club face at the top of the swing. When you have that weak club face at the top of the swing, you've got to do a lot of things to close the face. So if you're that type of person that has it very open, very cupped, this drill is going to be very difficult to just keep that stable. If you keep that open face very stable, well, you'd come to the ball open. We don't want that face to be open at the ball, so if you're very open on the backswing, you've got to flip it to make good contact. So what's the solution? I think if you want to have a more stable club face, you got to make sure the club face doesn't open that much on the backswing. So as we go to the top of the swing, the goal is to keep this club face square. So I think we've got it now that the club face should be parallel to our spine here. As I go to the top of the swing, that club face is going to start to look at the camera, and it's going to start to look at the sky, okay? As opposed to looking at my face and then being more parallel to or perpendicular to the ground. You can see the club face is hanging toe down. So we want to turn it this way and then towards the sky to keep that club face more square. Another concept that's helpful is we have this shaft here. On our backswing, we'd like to keep the club face either square to the shaft or a little close to the shaft. You don't want this face angle to get on this side of the shaft. Anytime the face angle gets on the right side of the shaft, you're going to slice it to the right. You want to keep this thing either square to the shaft or close to the shaft. I'll try to get a zoom in for you. So there's square to the shaft, open to the shaft, or a little close to the shaft. That's usually how you're going to want it on the backswing so that you can keep a club face really stable through the ball. Some final ideas towards the finish as well. If you had it open, you're having to close it a lot. So now that it's more square, we've got to make sure we don't close it a lot going through. This helps a lot of people from overhooking the ball. So as you come through the ball, yes, we're keeping it square to our spine, But I want to take that idea a little bit further of how we're not going to roll this face too much. That wouldn't be a stable club face, rolling your forearms over. We want to come through and we want to keep this shaft more vertical, like we're holding an umbrella behind us. That would keep the face much more stable. This umbrella is just behind my heel line, going straight up and down. Notice my arms are pretty straight. Keeping those arms straighter is going to keep that club face more stable versus flopping these arms around and these wrists around. You can see how crazy the club face is going around. So I'm trying to extend these arms, and I'm trying to get this umbrella pretty vertical just outside my left heel. The other thing that you'll notice is the club face is either square to the shaft or slightly open to the shaft. If you've got that club face closed to the shaft, you are flipping that club face. It's definitely evidence that you're flipping the club face through the ball. So to keep a stable, just a side note here, one of the best players in the world doing this right now would be Tommy Fleetwood. As Tommy Fleetwood goes through the ball, it's a lot like a punch shot, and he's not rolling the club face over through the strike. He's keeping that face very stable like this, okay? So we're gonna hit one like that. We're gonna keep that club face more stable. We're gonna be hitting our ball much straighter down the middle of the fairway. See if I can remember my hell drill. We'll keep this club face very square throughout the motion. And we're gonna hit our umbrella finish at the end here. Beautiful. Really nice shot. Really good stable club face, nice control. I really like that. So remember, if you can stabilize this club face through the strike, keeping that club face much more square, your balls are going to start on line more often, and you're going to hit straighter shots that hit the green more often. Remember, my name's Andrew Kiger. Please like and subscribe, and remember, your journey to better golf starts right here.